In fact, it's interesting because my great-uncle Yakov Sverdlov was the one who ordered the assassination of the Tsar in the city of Yekaterinburg, which is why they renamed it Sverdlovsk during the Soviet Union.
All right.
And, of course, in 1991, when the Soviet Union supposedly collapsed, it went back to Yekaterinburg. But interestingly, the Ukraine renamed another city Sverdlovsk. So there is still one that exists. He only assassinated the Tsar and the Tsarina and his children. There was a whole family of Romanovs, or Romanov in Russian, and they actually fled to Britain eventually, and they were in Britain for many decades.
Mm-hmm.
And when the collapse of the Soviet Union occurred in 1991, they returned. And I will tell you and your listeners that the Soviet Union is reconstituting.
So I've heard, yeah.
Yeah, the collapse is for show, and it was planned.
Okay, and the recent developments with Russia kind of allying up with Iran possibly, and that possibly the U.S. is going to attack. Is there some kind of game going on in a sense behind the scenes here that it's building up towards another world war basically?
Yeah, well, my opinion is we are already in a world war. It's just not the same conventional type that we were used to. But yes, there's a battle going on globally now between these Illuminati families for control. They no longer want the Rothschilds to be in charge. Basically, Rothschilds are based in Germany and France and control the EU. Now, Britain does not want to fully be in the EU because basically they want their own order. So they are forming the North American Union with United States, Canada, and Mexico, which will eventually incorporate all of Central and South America under the American Union. And my opinion is that Britain will join that.
Really?
Yes, and I even think it will incorporate New Zealand and Australia, which are already under U.S. control. Yeah,
because New Zealand, Canada, and Australia are both under the the Queen of those countries is
the Commonwealth. Yes,
exactly.
The Queen. Yeah. But I can see, sadly, after visiting New Zealand and Australia several times over the years, I can see already the changes where they have become very Americanized. The laws have changed. The attitudes have changed. It's very sad to see. There's no longer independence there.
So, also with, understanding with what you said here, is that there is still kind of infighting going on at the top, at among of these top families, because they're all, they all want to be the top dog. They all want to be the master of the earth, I guess.
When you throw reptiles in a pit, they don't help each other climb out. They kill each other in the pit.
My God. So that's...
that's what they do in government as well.
Yeah, that's right. So
I also look at it. I look at it like this also. Another analogy. They are all part of the same corporation. They're all on the board of directors, but only one can be chairman of the board, and that's what they want.
That's right. So there's still fighting going on, and speaking of Japan, you mentioned before the 14th family. The fact that, at least that we know of, the only country that has been subjected to atom bombs is Japan. Is there any connection here?
Yes, they have always considered the Illuminati of Japan to be inferior. When you look at the reptilian hierarchy, you can consider it very much like the Hindu caste system. And for all intents and purposes, the Japanese Illuminati are on the same level to their mind as the untouchables at the bottom of the hierarchy. And so that is why in World War II, Japan tried to exercise its power to disprove that. And then they were beaten down. But now Japan is in a lot of trouble. Japan developed a lot of electromagnetic weaponry, which was used against the United States on January 17th, 1994, during the big earthquake in Los Angeles, where they tried to attack the Illuminati headquarters in California. Now, you know the Illuminati love to play with dates and times and symbolism. 1 year to the date, on January 17th, 1995, Kobe, Japan was destroyed by earthquake. It was a retaliation. And Kobe was the center of Japanese ELF technology development. So this was a war, basically electronic war.
So this is, again, because you mentioned this in the first hour, that there is technology out there that actually can produce earthquakes. That's what you're saying here.
Absolutely, and they're doing it as we speak. You know, the tsunami in 2004 in Indonesia was artificially created. It was not a natural event.
Why in this region? Was there something of importance there that they wanted to get rid of?
Yes, you know, there was many reasons why. First one is, you know, the Earth has tectonic plates which float upon the magma. Now, there are 12 main tectonic plates on the Earth. One of them is the Indo-Australian plate, which is one of the largest when it goes from the Himalayas down across the Indian Ocean and across to Australia. The Illuminati are 13 families. They wanted to make the Earth symbolically represent that, and so they're trying to break or split the Indo-Australian plate into two pieces so that they could have 13 tectonic plates. Really? Now, interestingly, the survivors who were actually caught up in the waves and were submerged in the water but who survived, they are showing radiation poisoning. Now, where did that radiation come from?
Is there any research or articles about this online that you can look at?
Absolutely. If you look this up, there are clinics in Indonesia and Thailand and Sri Lanka and other areas that were affected that have clinics set up for radiation effects of these people. Of course, this is not something you're going to see on CNN.
Sure. Have to dig for it a little.
There were news articles online that you can go to and look this up. And so, yes, this was a nuclear explosion strategically placed on a very sensitive fault line and would fracture it. It's still happening.
So how do they deploy this? Because I guess that this was under the bottom of the ocean, as it were, under the water and all that. So, I mean, is there... were they using some kind of underground tunnels here to place these nukes?
The entire Earth is ringed by tunnels that go underneath continents, underneath oceans. They're very, very ancient, and they actually have a system of transportation within them that have been activated over the last few decades. So yes, but they also have vehicles that can go to the bottom of the ocean or into the mantle of the Earth and do anything that is necessary. That's very simple for them. So
you say that these have been the transportation systems has been activated in these underground systems or tunnels. How long have these been here? Or rather, I guess I could ask you, how long has this fight been going on the Earth, and how long have these species been here?
Since day zero. It's been going on. You know, the universe is a very dangerous place. There have been wars in galaxies since time began. And that is, to me, very sad to realize this, because that does not look very hopeful. You know, because a civilization is technologically advanced doesn't make them better than a Stone Age civilization.
That's right.
You know, they still fight, only they have better weapons.
Exactly.
More dangerous weapons. So the technology has nothing to do with intelligence. It has to do with really, if you want to see a good society, look at the spiritual aspects of them. And it doesn't matter what the technology is. They can be Stone Age. If they're spiritual, they're more advanced.
That's interesting. I do want to get in here a little bit later on talking about the hyperspace. Excuse me. the hyperspace level that you briefly mentioned in the first hour. But before we go there, there's one more thing I want to go back to and talk about, and that's Pindar, the top guy there that you mentioned.
Yeah.
Managed to live for, what, about 700 years, you said?
No, the family, the Rothschild family, has had the power of Pindar for that long.
Okay, I see.
The title passes usually father to son, or within the family. You know, and that they've had this for so many centuries, and now the other families want to turn. Especially the Windsors. The Windsors are very aggressive in this way. And they're actually, in my opinion, very brutal people.
So the fact that you know, because one I guess idea that people have trouble getting around is the fact that they can keep an agenda like this going. That's the reason why I asked you if there are some people here, or ETs or whatever you want to call them, that actually can manage to live much longer than humans can. I mean, are there life extension technologies here, perhaps?
Yes, you know, most species outside of this planet live a lot longer than human beings live. And that's because our culture, our society is so poisoned with toxins and chemicals that are in the food and the water and the stress that's put upon people that shortens the lifespan. If we go back into ancient times, even into Atlantean times, you see that the lifespan is for a person to be over 1,000 years.
Yeah.
And even the Bible talks, when the Bible talks about the ancient people and their length of time, it's really speaking about Atlantis. And this is the origin of mankind on Earth, not of mankind in the universe, but only on the Earth.
Interesting. So this, do you think it would be possible then if we change our ways in that regard and actually clean up some of the stuff, some of the troubles that we're having here on Earth? Basically, I guess we could say that we could potentially turn this place into a more Garden of Eden type paradise than for some people at least, the hellhole that you know reality has become, basically.
Yes, absolutely. And you know, in 1992, I believe it was, on the front page of the USA Today newspaper, there was an article that said, scientists have determined that human DNA is designed to be immortal and live forever. And they don't understand why people age and die. Well, I will tell you, if you come to my hyperspace classes, you'll learn why. And it has to do with the mind pattern. The mind will create anything that you think. You can think of the mind as the film, and the brain as the projector, and physical reality is the screen. So, if you don't like the movie that's playing in your life, you need to change the film, which is your mind and the way you think. It's really as simple as this.
That sounds wonderful. It reminds me a little bit of the work of, among others, with Bruce Lipton. He talks about how DNA actually is activated in different ways, the fight and the flight gene and all of that, and that even disease, to some extent, is something that is, I guess, self-induced. Would you agree on that?
Yeah, well, I talk about this in my DNA class, where, again, I always go back to mind or thought, because that's the initiator of everything. And when mind or thought, which is electromagnetic, descends into physical reality, it picks up and it tracks molecular structure, which then forms around the pattern of the thought and creates protein bases, which become the DNA and the blueprint for the body. So actually what you think is what you become. And if you change the way you think, you can change the DNA and the body